Welcome to the San Fran Tourism channel. Our goal is to showcase the top attractions in the San Francisco Bay Area and also where to find them. Now today's focus will be part 4, actually phase 4 of a series of adventures on Market Street in San Francisco. Now, if you haven't turned into phases 1, 2, and 3 on Market Street, which we began really at 1 Market Street, heading up to 2400 block of Market, we focused in on your lodging options, your dining options, your parking options. We talked about the restaurant alleyways, that is alleyways and shops that are within alleyways within the city, just off of Market Street. And we also emphasize the numbered block and how the streets are lined within the city, making it easier for you to find establishments. We talked about the scenic views of the skyline buildings, as well as other points of interest, like where the restroom is at, where the ATM is at, and many other miscellaneous products and services that you may need on Market Street. And then we finally talked about how Market Street divides the city pretty much right in half, either north of Market and the neighborhood south of Market. Now in phase 4, we're going to break off of Market Street, and I'm going to show you Twin Peaks. This is a popular tourist attraction. It's like a hill where you'll be able to see spectacular panoramic views of the city, but also you'll be able to see at a distance how Market Street divides the city in half, as opposed to the first 3 phases of Market, where I brought you up close to Market Street, where you're right next to where all the popular points of interest are at. Now we're going to continue phase 4 of our journey on 17th Street going westbound as we head towards Twin Peaks. But also I'm going to show you a hidden gem just before we get to Twin Peaks. A little treasure that's also going to be equally as spectacular. With that being the case, let's get started. Now today's weather in San Francisco is 64 degrees Fahrenheit with 72 degrees humidity and 8-mile-an-hour winds. And today's date is Friday, October the 9th, 2020 at 2:45 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So as I indicated, we're going to begin our journey going westbound on the 1700 block of 1700 block on at the corner of. So as I indicated earlier, we're going to begin our journey going westbound on the 4000 block of 17th Street at the corner of 2400 block of Market. So essentially Market and 17th Street, which is really in the heart of the Castro district. Now, one of the things that makes the city special in terms of the streets alignment is, for starters, this is a one-way street. This makes it easier for vehicles to travel faster within the city, and also the bike lanes that are convenient for cyclists that have their own specific lane. And I should emphasize that on Market Street as well, but also 17th Street has its own bike lane. One of the things you need to be aware of if you decide to park along the street in the city is the signage. You need to be certain that it's okay for you to park on the sidewalk by paying attention to the signage. Now, this particular signage on 17th block indicates no parking between 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. on Thursdays due to street sweeping. And also, there's free 2-hour parking between 8 a.m. to 9 p.m. Monday through Saturday. And exceptions are if you have a vehicle that has an S permit. That is usually a local that's paid for the right to park on the sidewalk at all times, other than the sweepskeeping time. And the other thing you need to be aware of if you decide to street park is if you are parking on a hill, and if the hill is going upwards, as this hill is on 17th Street, you need to be certain that your wheels are turned in the appropriate direction. So essentially, if it's uphill, your front wheels need to be turned inward. And if it's outward, but if you're parking downhill, then your wheels need to be turned inward. Or I should say outward. It's a little confusing, but essentially, if you're uphill, turn the wheels left. If you're parking downhill, turn the wheels right towards the curb. If you don't do this, then you could be cited for improper parking in the city. Those of you interested in real estate purchase here in the Castro district, check out Soft Bay's International Realty. Aviva Calmer. It's called Condo in the Castro. They have spaces available for sale. Now approaching the 4100 block of 17th Street, the cross street is Diamond. Now, one of the things that's special about the city also as you walk from block to block is whenever you get to a corner, look to your left, look to your right, either look east, west, north, and south, and observe the amazing architecture that's in the city, especially if those of you into architecture. You see in this particular case, how the hills are diagonaled. And when you get to the top of the hill, you'll be able to see spectacular views of the city, provided that there's a clear, unobstructed view. But nevertheless, one of the things that makes the city special are the numerous hills. Now here's another really pretty sight of the city, and that is the Victorian homes that are really much scattered all throughout many of the neighborhoods in the city. And it's amazing architecture. The most famous, of course, is the Painted Ladies in one of our neighborhoods, which we'll get to at a later time. Another film shoot. So it's something you also want to check out as well when you're walking within the city, are the Victorian homes. Now, one of the things that you may need to do if you come to a street corner and you're unable to find the location of the street, because not every street is marked. So what you do is you come to the corner of the block and you look at the sidewalk. And on the sidewalk, you'll be able to identify the name of the street. And of course, we are on 17th Street going westbound. Now entering the 4200 block of 17th Street, the cross street is Douglas. Now entering the 4300 block of 17th Street, the cross street is Ord. Yet another thing you need to be concerned with if you decide to street park is more additional signage that says no stopping pursuant to construction work. Here it says no stopping between October 5th through October 30th between 7 a.m. and 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. As you can see, the street, which we just passed, 17th and Ord Street, through Corbin Street, which is coming up, going westbound. If you park here during this time span, while this construction sign is here, then you're going to get towed. So make certain that you pay attention to the signage on the street before you decide to park. Now, here's one of the historical monuments in the city, one of the cell towers. This cell tower is one that's used by all the local TV stations throughout the Bay Area. We'll get a closer look up at it when we get to Twin Peaks. Now, here's one of the many hidden gems throughout the city, and these are the Stepwells. The Stepwells essentially allow you to access one element of a block to another. And in fact, there's a lady that did a book on all the stepwells in the city. I think there's like 10,000 of them. Anyway, I'll try to see if I can find it and put a description in the link if you're interested in that. But yes, the stepwells are designed to initially connect you from one block to another. In this case, this stepwell is going down to the next block on the street. So you'll see a lot of these throughout the city, and some are more famous as well. This stepwell is located at 4390 17th Street. So literally right across the street from the stepwell at 4390 17th Street, if you just turn around from where we're headed, now looking eastbound, you'll be able to see the portion of the bay as well as the ship containers that come into the bay. So this is what I mean. Whenever you get to a street corner, just stop, look to your left, look to your right, look east-west, look southbound, look northbound, look westbound, and you're going to see something really spectacular. Usually. Approaching the 4400 block of 17th Street, going westbound. So as you can see, as we go up 17th Street, and it's pretty hilly. So as we progress up the hill, you turn around and look behind you, direction from which you came, which in our case was eastbound. You'll be able to see more of an unobstructed view of the city skyline, the bay, the container ships, and more. This starts getting really fun. So as we approach the 4500 block of 17th Street, here's a directional sign leading you to the Randall Museum. The Randall Museum is a kind of a family-oriented museum that if you have children you can take to. It's kind of hidden. It's hidden in terms of it's not near where a lot of the tourist attractions are located. We'll feature the Randall Museum at a later film shoot. But the directional signs are kind of nice. You'll see a lot of these all throughout the city, directing you to your point of interest.